Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk, exploring the issues affecting all of our lives. I'm your host, Austin Harris. The nonprofit organization known as Big Brothers Big Sisters has been providing professionally supported mentoring relationships to countless children and young adults since 1904, and here in the Cayman Islands since 1995. On today's episode, we explore the important work being conducted by the local subsidiary of this global nonprofit, including an upcoming major rebranding exercise that will result in a new name and a new identity, but a continuation of their important mission. With us in studios to help us better understand this mission, it is our pleasure to welcome Executive Director for the Big Brothers Big Sisters Cayman, Mrs. Angela Martins. Ms. Angela, thank you so very much for being our guest here on Let's Talk.
Oh, you're most welcome. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Well, the words Big Brother, Big Sisters are synonymous with youth mentoring. Perhaps we can begin by telling us a little bit about your organization, its aims and objectives.
Here in the Cayman Islands, Big Brother Big Sister for us has been historically a youth mentoring organization. That's children and youth. That's from 6 to about 17 years old. Mm-hmm. And fundamentally, that was working with children facing adversity, providing them sustainable, nourishing mentoring relationships, because the research is very clear.
Right.
Mentoring relationships impact children into adulthood for life.
Right.
And so we work to ensure that we provide supports to youth who are referred to us, that we learn about in any way, in order to provide the best chance for them to be productive citizens in their community.
Yes, yes. Now, your organization is built almost entirely on the goodwill of volunteers. Perhaps tell us, how does one become, I think the phrase is, a big?
To become a big, you can whip to our website and fill out a form there and it comes in, or just call the office. info@bbbs.ky. Okay. And essentially tonight at 6 p.m. I'll be hosting virtual orientation. Mm-hmm. That's twice a month. It's the second and fourth Thursdays in the month. The second Thursday in the month at 2 noon, and the fourth Thursday at 6 p.m. And that's to accommodate wherever people have the time free. Right. And the virtual orientation is purely giving you a good overview of who we are, what we do as a youth mentoring organization here in the Cayman Islands. After that, a SurveyMonkey link goes out. Folks respond, yes, I'm interested in being an adult mentor, or no, I want to be a support volunteer, and these are the ways I can help. Or in some cases, we have donors who come on just to be a part of it, mm-hmm. and then to say, I don't want to be any of those things, but I'd like to contribute $10.
Right.
Or more than that, please.
Okay.
And so once we get the SurveyMonkey link back, we then respond to that as it indicates from the individual, okay. And move things forward.
All right. Probably as important, if not more important than selecting a mentor, is selecting your mentee. So continuing along those lines, how does one become a little? Is there a selection criteria for those young persons that you provide these valuable services to?
Honestly, we strive more to not exclude. Mm-hmm. So the only exclusion is really if there are health factors that impact the ability of that child or youth, mm-hmm. to be successful in the relationship. But we've had situations, for example, where we've recommended that the child attend a particular program at the Family Resource Center, mm-hmm. and then come back to us.
Right.
So we're not looking to exclude any child or youth.
Okay.
But we want to also be realistic and thoughtful that our adult mentors are not therapists and counselors. Mm-hmm. They are well-intentioned individuals who we have done training with and who are sharing of themselves as a mentor. And so therefore, we're not looking to really ask them to deal with children who may have particular mental health problems or any other kinds of issues that would conflict with a successful mentoring relationship.
I see. I see. Now, a basic perusal of the Big Brothers Big Sisters website globally suggests that your mentees usually are young people who come from poverty, young people who are in single parent homes, perhaps young persons who are coping with one or two of the parents who may be incarcerated. Are these similar dynamics to the young persons and young mentees that you provide services to here in the Cayman Islands? Just to give us an idea of the young persons that come to you, perhaps when they're broken, and we can share the success story of what happens after they've gone through the program.
I'm going to respond to what you said, and I'm going to say all of the above.
Okay, all right.
All of the above. However, what we saw coming out of COVID, during COVID and coming out of COVID, that was very concerning was food insecurity.
Right.
We equally saw children and youth struggling with anxiety and depression.
Yes.
And it has to do with, part of it was a lockdown effect, but we're still seeing that. We're seeing that presenting in ways we didn't see before.
Right.
Another issue here that I think is really important for us to note in this community, and it's the absent fathers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing, by and large, it's mothers who are referring their sons. And I say that because you'll note in the information I sent you that we have a concern around girls.
Yes.
In that girls by nature internalize,
Mm-hmm.
so they hold it in. Boys by nature express.
Correct.
So he will bully or hit or shout or scream, and therefore get noticed.
Right.
Girls will withdraw, but the problem is she will in time begin to look for expressions of support, and more often than not in the wrong spaces. And so one of the issues we see with girls 14, 15, 16 is the onset of promiscuous behaviors. And one of our programs is our Teen Mom program that we run in partnership with the Family Resource Center, and that is to provide all of the teen mothers that they work with an adult mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I met with some teen moms last week and said to them that I'm not here to shame you,
Right.
to make you feel like you made the greatest mistake in the world. I'm here to challenge you. What are you going to do now that you have this beautiful child? It's about developing more skills, getting back to school, engaging in the work that FRC is going to be doing with you here, and agreeing to an adult mentor, but it means that's a contract.
Right.
And you can't leave someone hanging when you're supposed to show up at a certain time, what have you. It was beautiful to talk with these 4 young mothers because one said outright, I wish I had known about this before I found myself where I am today.
Right.
How might I have gotten in? And that was a challenge. And I'm wanting to be thoughtful because I don't want to take on more we can chew.
Mm-hmm.
But what she was really saying is that there are girls 16, 17, 18 who want to be in a group program but don't know how to access that.
Right.
And the truth is, we've never provided that. So we're very sensitive to the boys issue because parents keep coming back and saying, you're not doing anything for boys. But these young moms raised it in a variety of ways, the importance of Circle for Girls. So we are looking to work aggressively to get, I think it's 8 or 10 of them matched fairly quickly.
Okay.
Because it is really important that teen moms begin to see themselves more positively, begin to understand the responsibilities that they now have, and understand that no matter what's going on around them, and sometimes you have the community, say, shunning them or family putting them out or what sorts of things might happen, it's really about mom picking herself up.
Right.
And being able to take care of the child, but equally take care of herself, in not just financially, but emotionally, psychologically, and understand, as I always like to tell them, I am enough.
Right.
I am enough.
Indeed.
Yeah.
You said something I thought was rather important. You said you're waiting to get your mentees matched. And what that said to me was it's not simply a matter of placing a young person with any volunteer that may have come through, but in particular, the right volunteer. Talk to us about that matching process. Talk to us about the criteria for your mentors when trying to work with our young people.
Once you express an interest to be an adult mentor, then obviously it's the application form. It's references. We need things like driver's license, car insurance, because you're picking children up. Darkness to Light, which is the program done by the child safeguarding program done by the Red Cross, has to be completed. We also do 3 hours, and that's done, I do that training in-house, and that's done on mentoring relationships. Because in virtual orientation, you got an overview of the organization. So that 3 hours is really focusing on what our mentees look like in terms of all the kinds of issues they bring to the table. What does a mentoring relationship look like? And how do you bring yourself to that space in order to be helpful and useful to youth who have faced these sorts of adversity? There's an interview that takes place as well. And frankly, there's a certain amount of intuition that is applied because you collect all of this information on this adult, and you then look at this person and have to make a judgment call that this individual, a car insurance, that's a compliance document, but this is really the piece of the interview, the way you engaged around within the training, all of our interactions with you to grasp a sense of your likelihood to respond appropriately to these particular kinds of children.
Right.
The onboarding for littles is again, the parent fills out the application form, but the child has a number of forms. What are the things you like? And they tick all the things they like. They tell you about some fun they had. What are the things you like to eat? As one little boy said, Mom, I really like oxtail, and I like ackee and codfish, them things.
Good boy.
That's what I like.
Good, very good.
So you ask them all sorts of questions because you want to get to know this person.
Sure.
Do you like to draw? Do you like to fish? All kinds of questions. But you take these and you then sit down with these adults, these littles, these children and youth, and what happens is you feel, that's what I call intuition.
Sure.
The feeling emerges. The adult indicates I want to work with a youth or a child X age, 6 to 8, 10 to 12, what have you. So you have ages over, so you begin to look at which of these I think fits here. So it is not automatic because you are a trained volunteer that you are matched this week.
Right.
You could be a trained volunteer for a while, not because we don't want to match you, but because matches are about sustainability.
Indeed.
Not about numbers. We could have 200, but we're closing matches every week because they're not built on a foundation.
Right.
So it's sustainable matches. And when we look at the numbers that we have, we see matches that are lasting. The median age is about 3.5 to 4 years.
Okay.
We ask adults when they're complete all their training and they're about to be matched, we ask them to commit to 1 year.
Right.
Because when the match is shorter than that, the child or youth they immediately feel I did something wrong.
Right.
And that's why Mr. Austin left.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so a minimum of 1 year.
Right.
I can think of, since I have been as an ED, I can think of one match that ended, and that simply was because she had to leave Ireland.
Right. Right.
But when I talk with the adults, you hear a lot around. But he's my friend, or she's my sister.
Yeah.
I remember reading on Facebook about a year or so ago, and there was a young woman who posted a picture of her, a Caymanian girl who posted a picture of herself and a young woman, and they were sitting in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, many, many moons ago, I was a big sister, and this is my little, and we still hang out together. And that just made me so,
Sure.
It's
Sure.
like, here's why we do what we do.
Indeed.
And we have one who's going on to med school in September.
Mm-hmm.
And this young man, 11 years old, when he was a match with his big brother, he came from very, very humble and painful spaces.
Yes.
But he will say, he picked me up, he brushed me off, and here I am. And essentially, he's going to the UK with me. I'm not going without him because he's got to get me settled. I go, okay then,
Fantastic.
you do what you do.
Right.
He's got a scholarship. He's in Cayman Prep. We have another one in Cayman Prep, and she's looking to do a degree in business.
Okay.
So but it's more than that. It's not just those who excel. It's recognizing when you see changed lives.
Mm.
It's one who is 9 or 10 years old. And I said to Zayden, what's up? You got your school report? And he said, yes, ma'am. I said, so how's that going? And he looks over, and his mentor was over there, and he said, well, one thing I know, that good isn't good enough. I got to do excellent. So some stuff I got to clean up, ma'am. I said, you go with it.
Yes.
He said, that's what he always, when he does this, that's what he always tells me.
Mm-hmm.
And, so you see so many different ways.
Sure.
As you do match check-ins, you learn about how, because we do a match check-in with the mother, with the parent, with the child, and with the adult mentor. So every check-in is done with all three.
Right.
And in all those check-ins, one question framed in different ways, parent and child, did you feel your child was safe? Do you feel your child is safe? Do you feel safe when you are with Mr. Austin?
Mm-hmm.
With the adult mentor, was there anything about your mentee in this last 3 months since we last spoke to you
Right.
that gave cause for any concern regarding any child safety issue?
Right.
Because we take very seriously the Child Care Act, and we will ensure that under our watch, to the extent possible,
Sure.
that everything we do is ensuring that we keep children safe, and hence our adult mentors may not always love me, but I require that every one of their documents must be up to date.
Yes. Sure.
Driver's license, car insurance, darkness to light, whatever it is, must be up to date because we're dealing with children in our community.
Quite right. Quite right. There can be no question in terms of the worth and value of an organization such as yours and its value to the community. But I'm also hearing what, to me, seems to be a very rewarding experience for your bigs. Let's talk numbers. I'm certain there are always more littles available than there are bigs available to be, mentors. Is that a similar challenge for Big Brothers Big Sisters? Is it difficult to find adequate adults to mentor your young persons?
Interestingly, when I came on as ED, it was what we were having issues with was not getting any youth, not getting any mentee referrals.
Right.
And that was troubling because we were just depending then on school counselors. Parents weren't coming forward, almost not at all. So you had, in a sense, a pile up of adult trained volunteers, but you didn't have enough folks. And then the school counselors were tending to refer boys, so the men were being well taken care of, and then you'd end up with 14, 20 females just kind of waiting and waiting and waiting.
Right.
Something really interesting happened in the last 12 months. And I think part of that is getting out and talking about the organization, bringing it to the forefront more, in that we are having parents refer in left, right, and center now.
Okay.
We are having a lot more engagement with school counselors. We're having a lot more engagement with partners who are saying, Keys Foundation, let's talk about mentors for the youth. We have DCFS, let's talk about how we can work together. So there's a whole, I'm excited.
Yes.
Because the partnerships are ultimately what make the difference. At the moment, we have about 44 volunteers.
Okay.
But we have 39 children we need to get processed. And if you ask me what our fundamental problem is, it's not adults who are interested or youth. It is staff.
Staff.
Yeah, because
Okay.
right now, I'm all over the place trying to do fundraising, and but by and large, there's one casework manager.
Right.
And we have 38 active cases, which means those are check-ins that are done. For the first year, they're done once a month, and and beyond the year, they're done every 3 months.
I see.
And then it is to manage all of the compliance pieces and make sure everything is up to date all the time. And then Biggs will come in with issues whenever they come in. Those have to be responded to. So that is the fundamental piece, is that we have the adults to match. We have 39 children to process, and an additional 8 to 10 teen moms to process,
Yes.
but no one to do the work.
Right.
And so this is a very urgent, critical, painful space to be in.
Sure it is.
It is. I mean,
Sure.
and I'm saying this because my whole life I spent in the public service, and it was 11 years as DCFS director, medical social worker, first medical social worker at the hospital. When I look at Recovery Fund, I was ED for National Recovery Fund from out of Ivan. A lot of touch points back into sitting in the backyard across this island, and in Cayman as well, talking to the people of these islands.
Yes.
So I'm not distant from any of that. And I'm very conscious now of the growing kinds of issues that youth, children, and young adults face, and the critical importance that we need to be supporting them.
Yes.
And I really want a call out to parents to not be embarrassed, to come forward and inquire about a mentor for your child,
Yes.
male or female. And with young girls, we're desperate to see more girls be referred, because she is quiet does not mean that she doesn't need help.
Yes. Yeah.
And the concern there is that we want to see self-esteem, self-worth, academic levels rise for girls,
Right.
decreasing the potential for teen pregnancy. So it's really a balancing scale here.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
Sure it is.
But yes, our fundamental issue is significantly around funding to be able, not 10 staff, 2,
Right.
to be able to get real crazy and get these children matched. Because coming behind them I talked about partnerships with agencies. All those are more to come. And we are excited and keen. Got an interest from Cayman a week or so ago. Really excited about that. But again, there has to be personnel
Yes.
to be able to both get on board and train people, but then manage that.
Quite right. Sticking with organizational challenges, your parent organization, Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, are going through some organization challenges of their own, which have resulted in the need for Big Brothers Big Sisters to make some changes of your own. You're currently engaged, amongst other things, in a rebranding exercise that will result in a new name, potentially new identity, but we assume, of course, a continuation of the same fantastic and important work. What's behind some of these organizational changes at the parent level?
I'm going to say that by and large, that's not something we've concerned ourselves about. What
Okay.
we know is that the affiliate agreement between Big Brother Big Sister America and Big Brother Big Sister International has been terminated.
Right.
We were an affiliate, we operated under the affiliate agreement. So therefore, we no longer are an affiliate of Big Brother Big Sister International.
Yes.
There were 13 countries. There are 3 of us in this part of the world, which is Trinidad and Tobago, Bermuda, and Cayman Islands. The rest are in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, where have you.
Right.
Everybody is looking at how they will go forward. And here in Cayman, the board took a very clear decision that it would remain as a local, independent youth mentoring organization, continuing the legacy it has built over the last 27, 28 years. So that's not going to change.
Right.
The difference is that we are moving far beyond what we were doing a couple of years ago. We are now serving teen mothers, 13 to 25 years old.
Okay.
We are looking at circles of boys, again, 15 to 25 years old. But I always, when asked about sort of what are we doing, I always use I always express the view that we are responding to the emerging needs for children and youth in this jurisdiction. So we're not looking to see a program someone else does somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now, what we do is that when we identify what that emerging need is, we look outside to see where similar programs are running. And I have colleagues in different places now that even though we will not be Big Brother, Big Sister anymore, I can still turn to them and say, when we were doing the Teen Mom program, Winnipeg had one, so I turned to them and they gave us lots of good stuff. And now we have relationships in a variety of countries.
Right.
I can turn to Bermuda, as I just did, on the Circles for Boys, and said to Patriana, let's talk about some work you're doing so that we can kind of get some ideas from that and not have to kind of go from zero.
Indeed.
Yeah. So built the contacts very much as the 13 of us that were part of the affiliate, that were the affiliates to that agreement. We continued to meet monthly with a view of potentially creating some sort of a international youth mentoring alliance so that we stay together, share best practices, and build relationships for each other, but also look to other youth mentoring organizations that are well established that can become partners with us, all in the name of the game to improve what we do at home.
Right,
Yeah.
indeed. Speaking of improving what you do, how can the community, listening to this broadcast today, enjoying as much as I am hosting this conversation, whether it be in a donor capacity, whether they want to help to fill some of those gaps in your staffing capacity, how can the community become more involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters Cayman?
I want to say first a call out to parents. Please do not see your child having a mentor as a negative.
Right.
That's because at the end of the day, I'll talk about other things, but that's why we exist. So particularly a call out to parents about their daughters. We're seeing young women with almost no social graces, low self-esteem, poor communication skills, not looking people in the eyes when they talk to them. But all of this is what a mentor helps with.
Right.
Quiet, mousy, as one mother said, holding on to my frock tail. Well, a mentor helps her to come out of her shell.
Yes.
And help her to find her own voice. And help her to know, as a little said to me, she was like 9 or 10, and her mentor wanted to take her to National Gallery. And she complained to me when I was doing a check-in, I do not want to go to no place with pictures. And I said, well, why not? Because I don't like that stuff. And I said, just go once and then explain to her what you didn't like when you went. So the next time I check in, she says, Miss Angela, it was so fun and we're going to go back. And you know what I did? And then she bought me the sketchbook. And I thought, okay then. And that leads me to something. A mentoring relationship is not about money. It's about service.
Yeah.
So the adult mentor commits to give of themselves in this relationship with your child. But it's not about them spending money on your child. Obviously, if they took the child out, they'd buy a hamburger or an ice cream cone or what have you. But it's not about money. It's about time.
Yeah.
It's about relationship. It's about a young child, a young person knowing when all else fails, I know that Mr. Austin is there for me.
Yes.
And I can talk, I can confide in that, in my big. Now, one of the big pieces that we say to all of these mentees is, whatever you say to your big brother, Mr. Austin, doesn't have to tell us. But if it is anything to do with child safety, he cannot keep it secret. So please, so everybody knows that parent, child, adult, mentor, that there are no secrets around child safety issues.
Yes. Yes.
Because we must be foremost, that is foremost in our minds. So the first piece is to parents to info@bbbs.ky. Refer your child, girls, boys, and you don't have to refer a child. If you got 5 children, refer to 5 children.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter.
Right.
That's one piece. The other piece, yes, is to anyone who would like to support us with donor funds, an admin support staff person.
Sure.
Now that would be nice.
Sure.
What
sure.
does that look like?
Hey, it's all right. That's why it's called a wish list.
But yes, I mean, when I speak of a case manager, I speak of a program manager. These are folks who come with skills,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And these are critical because this is processing both adults and children and youth, and then managing those matches. And you know, we're looking now and we're seeing through the for example, we do a school program. Oh, and if you're listening, we do a back to school program. Bags are packed within the first 10 days of August. And what this is, bags are packed with the school list for each child so that when they go back to school, their bag has exactly what Clifton Hunter says year 9 has in it, or wherever they are going. Mm-hmm. And the reason we do that is that we don't want any of child to have any reason to not be able to progress in that class. Because fundamental to one of the things that every single adult mentor presses on with their mentee is academic performance. Because we know that the journey away from where you are to where you can go is, yes, all the social skills and all that development, but academic potential to your academic performance to your level. Mm-hmm. We're not in the business of everyone is a degree recipient.
Right.
But we're in the business of saying, if you want to be a truck driver, then be the best possible truck driver in the world there is.
Right.
And then be honest, and then know how to open a bank account and save your money and do those things. Yeah. So academic but basic skills. You've got to get basic skills in primary and secondary to be able to be a good father, a good husband, and work wherever you work or run the little business that you have.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, Ms. Angela, I want to thank you for being our guest here on Let's Talk. It has truly been refreshing and rewarding to be your host, and I'm sure to the team here, they've also enjoyed it, and hopefully the listening audience as well. An opportunity for any closing comments that you may have at this time?
Help us help youth in these islands, because at the end of the day, they matter.
Quite right, indeed. Well, again, Miss Angela Martins, Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters Cayman Islands, I thank you sincerely for being our guest here on Let's Talk. I thank you for the work that you're doing in the community, you, your mentees, your littles, your staff. It is valuable work. It is necessary work, and we want to encourage the community who are listening here today to reach out and be a part of this exciting opportunity for changing the lives of young peoples in the Cayman Islands. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Indeed. And as always, to our audiences, we say thank you for taking the time to tune in, and we hope you've enjoyed today's episode as much as we have. If you did, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and please feel free to leave any comments you may have either on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page. Please tune in every Sunday at 2 p.m. for another episode of Let's Talk, exploring the issues affecting all of our lives. I'm your host, Austin Harris. Until next time.